you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Robert Duell.
And we are back with a quarantine re-review. That's right. He and I are re-recording this review because last week when we recorded, I screwed something up and, well, I accidentally hit the power button and my computer almost went down. And then it was like, no, it's okay, I'll keep everything up. And it looked like everything was still recording, but it wasn't. So that's what we are back to do. And the last review that we had recorded that day was for the DC Universe series, Swamp Thing. And we had a good time discussing it. I think we will again, because quite frankly, this series, I don't mind talking about it twice, because it was a really great series. So we'll do this review like we normally do. We'll talk about our overall thoughts on the story, the acting, the effects. And if you didn't know, again, this series, Swamp Thing, is based on the comic book series from the Vertigo line of the DC Comics imprint, and it was made on the DC Universe app, so I believe it will be available on the Warner Brothers app. It is still available on the DC Universe app. It is also available on Blu-ray, which I think everyone should definitely check it out. It's only 10 episodes, was meant to be 13, but because they went over budget or other reasons, it got cut from 13 to 10 and was canceled after its first season. Now, I bring that up at the start to tell you that you should not let that affect whether or not you want to watch it. What that says to me is, now you have a complete one-season story, and you do. You do have a complete one-season story. It does obviously lend itself to more stories to come forward, but it is also its completed own story, and I really, really liked it. I enjoyed the hell out of this series. What about you, Robert?
No, the same. And even from when the original teaser, when they put it out, I was so excited. And then that news of, oh, it's canceled and it's not even all the way out. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Mm-hmm. And finally, when I just got to see it, personally, I was blown away by it. I had loved how dark and brutal it was, between just the effects, acting, everything about this show I loved. And I was so sad that they capped it off and canceled it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a bummer that that's the way it went, but I'm glad that you felt the same way I did about it. Have you ever read the comics?
I've a little bit and everything, not a whole lot, so you're probably a little more versed than I am on the comic book side of it.
I've only ever read a 6-issue trade, I think, and I wasn't the biggest fan, so yeah, I need to read more.
Well, that's I think probably 5 issues more than I have.
Yeah, I'm tempted to get the Absolute Swamp Thing that just came out. It's the first, those big DC hardcover editions, the Absolute editions. They just put one out, and it's supposed to be phenomenal. But this season was the story, one of the best stories by Alan Moore, who wrote that series, or made it popular again anyway. And it's about a scientist by the name of Alec Holland, who is investigating weird stuff going on in the local swamp. The nature is essentially fighting back. The series starts off in a very horrific way, with a couple of guys out there on the swamps on a boat trying to do something they shouldn't be doing, when all of a sudden the swamp itself attacks and vines come through the boat and impale a dude and raise the whole boat up into this sickening kind of diorama. Yeah, it's really great to set the mood for the entire series. And so Alec is investigating this phenomenon, and then we also get this young woman by the name of Abby Arcane, who comes back. She's from this town, this swampy town. Her father, played by Will Patton, who's been in a bunch of stuff. He's kind of like the well-established businessman of the town kind of thing. He's got evil ulterior motives, while she has come back to also study the phenomenon. She links up with Alec Holland, and then Alec Holland is unceremoniously destroyed and is rebuilt in the swamps as this creature called the Swamp Thing, who starts to kind of defend humanity against what's going on in the swamp. And it's just it is really a story rife for TV telling. It's not one that you'd get told very well in a movie. It would be super condensed, and there would be stuff left out all over the place. But this 10-episode series is phenomenal. I think the story is done really well, and even though it's truncated, even though they crunched it from 13 to 10, you can't tell that much really. I mean, I knew only because I knew, but if I didn't know, I don't know that I would be able to tell. What about you, Robert? How did you like the story and how that ending came about or played out and all that?
No, I'm kind of there with you and everything like that. Definitely, like if you didn't read the news and everything originally of it getting cut down from 13 to 10, you honestly probably wouldn't have known. Mm-hmm. There might have been a couple little things you're like, wait, well, what happened with that? But other than that, it flowed really nicely. I dug the hell out of this story, and I'm more familiar with the original movie, like those first two movies, and like how all that developed and whatnot, and like how he became Swamp Thing and stuff. Mm-hmm. So seeing it basically in my mind like changed up, I thought they did one hell of a damn job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And you felt so bad and everything when all these I'm just gonna say horrific events and everything happen. Like it's like you're just, damn, like all right, well at least it didn't take as long as I thought it would.
Let's segue into the acting then. If you were as big a fan of the story as I was, how did you like the acting in this?
I actually thought everyone did really good. Even for our guy playing Alec Holland, who is, I want to say, who's Adult Stanley in It Too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In Chapter 2 and everything like that.
Yeah, you said that last time you did this review, and it blew my mind. It still kind of does. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, I didn't realize that and everything until again, I was looking up some little facts and everything about the show, and it's like, all right, we'll see what else he's been in. It's like It Chapter 2. I'm like, wait, what? Sting. Oh. Well, okay, that's cool. Because you got to see him flex a little bit more of his acting chops in this than what you actually did in It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Nice. And you can see, like, he's actually a pretty good actor. Mm-hmm. Even our main girl who played Abby Arcane. I'm not really familiar with what she's from.
She was actually the second lead in that Teen Wolf show that I was mentioning during our Bad Moon review. She was the love interest for the first 3 seasons. Then they literally killed her character off because she had other things to go do, including she was also in Incident in a Ghostland, which was, I think, one of the best horror movies of 2018, I think is when it came out.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so good if you haven't watched it, dude. Incident in a Ghostland will that's a movie you can't, it keeps changing, and it's so good the whole time.
Okay, all right, I'll check that out. If you got that, I'm gonna have to snag that from you.
Yeah, I do. So let me see here. I'm going to say that the acting I really dug are some of the bit players, so to speak. There's a guy that plays Dr. Jason Woodrue, and he was the actor that was in The Strain. He played, oh god, I can't think of his name, but he was the foreign guy that was with the blonde woman. And then he was also in, I think you came up with the title last time we reviewed it on the channel. What was it? Dark was the Night. Dark was the Night. Thank you. God, you're so smart.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Okay, good. Kevin, is Kevin Durant? It's not Kevin Durant?
I don't know. Whatever,
Is he a basketball player all of a sudden?
Kevin with a D.
Yeah, Kevin with a D. But he's amazing in it, and I don't know. I really, the only one that frustrated me was Will Patton. I thought he was a little too mustache twirly, working behind the scenes. I like him way more as a good guy. I know he was a good guy in Falling Skies. He's obviously one of the oil drillers I fell in love with in Armageddon. So I'm. Did you not realize that?
No!
He's the one with the kid. He goes and leaves the space shuttle on the kid's stoop.
Dude, I haven't watched Armageddon in probably like 8 years.
Yeah, he's one of the drillers.
Like crap.
Yeah, I've always loved Will Patton. So I was a little disappointed with him, a little mustache twirly in this, but everyone else is really great, and he's not bad. It's just but I really dug the acting. I thought it was really impressive. I thought my chair felt heavier all of a sudden. But yeah, I mean, any other actors stand out to you?
Personally, not really. I think I was like, other than that, like the Kevin Durant and everything, I really like him. Like, I was actually really surprised to see him in the show.
There is something I forgot to mention last time we reviewed this. Something that really excited me about the show. Ian Ziering is in the show, and he ends up playing a character called the Blue Devil.
Oh, yeah!
And Blue Devil is like a way underserved DC Universe character who I got to know because he first came in my in my world with Underworld Unleashed, which was a phenomenal comic book series where the devil character called Neron trades any one wish to any character in the DC universe in exchange for their soul, and basically all the villains did it, and so that's where but Blue Devil was one of the only heroes that did it. So he sold his soul in order to become a big Hollywood success. And what ends up happening is the girl that he's in love with is flying in a chopper covering the news event when she gets in a helicopter crash. And as soon as that happens, his phone starts ringing with all these jobs and everything like that. So it's so cool, and I love the character. So seeing Ian Ziering start to develop that character of the Blue Devil, I really, really was on board for that. So that might be personal, but I don't know. Did you like the Ian Ziering of it all?
No, honestly, I did and everything, and I recognized him because he's the same guy from those Sharknado movies, right?
And Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. No, and honestly, I actually did really enjoy him in this series and whatnot. And it was kind of
breaking loose of his typical stuff, is what I liked. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like in that final few episodes and everything, when you start seeing like what he is, like that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like I dug the hell out of that design for the Blue Devil.
Yeah, the Blue Devils. I was so happy to see that come into it.
And like that makes me even more sad about it being canceled, because we're not going to be able to see any more of that character.
I know, and there's no way a movie will ever touch him either. No. Like he's such a tiny character in an obscure part of the DC universe that this was a really great way to do him, and now we're never gonna get him again. It's so bummer. Yeah. But the fact that we at least got him, and that we had no idea that I didn't make the connection with Ian's character's name until the Blue Devil of it came in. I was like, oh, that's right, and I really dug it. So let's talk about the cinematography and the sound design. I think both of these are worthy of talking about. The cinematography obviously is really good. It's got to frame Swamp Thing in an imposing way. It's got to tell the story interestingly. It's got to handle the effects when they come up and everything. So I thought the cinematography was all great. And then obviously the sound design, because the crux of the show is built on the twisting and grossness and snapping of vines and stretching and all of this stuff. And it's just so cool and well done. What about for you?
Oh, I'm right there with you, especially like the small little like crackling and creakings of even like the branches as you're and the camera movements as if you're the vines and stuff moving. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cool as hell.
Very Evil Dead-ish.
It was, and like I am a big fan of Evil Dead.
You got ash sprouting out of your head for the whole review.
Yeah. I love me some Ashley J. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's like even just like but I would honestly say just really in general, like the cinematography of when you had the movements with the vines, I thought that was the biggest standout on that personally.
Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, let's just go into the effects then, because that's where we're leading with the vines. I mean, it's a show that I can see why they ran out of budget, because they don't seem to shortchange the show at any point. Like, if they did, I didn't really notice it, so they were picking the right moments to shortchange the show. But the money shots, that attack at the beginning of the show, and then more specifically, a very Thing homage autopsy scene is so awesome, and the effects are so good and scary, and like legitimately scary, but like in a Resident Evil kind of way. Like this thing kind of stands up and starts lumbering, and you're like, oh shit, and you want to like get the gun out, like dish, 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 like it feels like that kind of thing. But They did such a good job with the effects in this show, and the practicality of the Swamp Thing suit was just amazing. So I'm bringing him up. You expound on that, because I know you like the same stuff.
We had Derek Mears as Swamp Thing, and he rocked it. But we're going real focus point right now. Yeah, it's definitely the practical effects, just in general of it. Holy crap, was this beautiful! And we're gonna go back to that autopsy scene too. And it's like when we got to that and start seeing the openings, oh my god! I just thought like the detail on just the organs and just the chest plates in general, just so much fine attention to detail on this suit. Good job, guys.
I agree, and I think it's also a shining example of good practical effects that are enhanced by CG, right? Because sometimes his practical suit had to sprout weird things, and it looked so integrated. It looked so natural whenever that would happen. Sometimes he would even grow, like at one point he grew a flower, picked it, and handed it to her. And it's like so really cool. Like, I'm like, that's just dope, nice, simple effect usage, and I really dug it, man. Like, it's just, and yeah, the thing-esque of it all, the thing-esqueness of the certain things was just thing-esqueness of certain things. I'm a poet, baby. But it's just really awesome to see unfold, and again, it would take budget, so I see why they ran out. But man, I mean, look at Game of Thrones. You don't want to shortchange a show that kind of thrives on its effects, especially if it's a really good show. And I think what I think is DC cut it short because not enough people had invested in the app. It wasn't a Disney Plus situation. They didn't have 10 million people on day one sign up. You know what I mean? If that had been the case, Swamp Thing would probably still be going. Maybe, and here's what's a possibility. And I want to circle back to Derek Mears, so don't let me forget. But here's a possibility. Once the Warner Bros. App comes out and people can start seeing this more en masse because more people will get Warner Bros. Because it'll have HBO and stuff like this, I think that there's a chance we could get another swing at Swamp Thing with those same people. The same way, or if not, maybe we can bring him into Legends of Tomorrow, the way we brought Constantine in after his show failed, right? Constantine's been on Legends of Tomorrow for 2 years. Swamp Thing is a part of Justice League Dark. You've developed this Swamp Thing character. They're supposedly doing a Justice League Dark movie. For God's sake, don't create a new Swamp Thing. Bring us the Derek Mears Swamp Thing over. Please, please, please do that. And what I wanted to circle back with Derek Mears is, I didn't even mention him in acting. We absolutely have to mention his acting because he's not only this big dude in a suit, but he has to emote through that practical effect. And he does so much with his eyes, which are still, contacted over to be totally red. And yet you still feel for the guy. He's still an emotional core to the show. He comes through, and that's such a hard thing to do when you're literally not a single ounce of your skin is showing, or your eyes. It's crazy. But he does a masterful job. So I don't know. Any final thoughts from you on this one?
I don't know. Like, honestly, you're hitting basically what I want to. What I want to say, without really necessarily reiterating and everything. No, like Derek Mears, like I said a little bit ago, like he did great in this, and the emotion that you definitely got, even with that obvious CG enhancement over his eyes because of the red tones, you could still see it. And the voice acting is what he would definitely have to do to present this emotion of what the character is supposed to be feeling if you can't see it in his face. And I thought he did one hell of a damn job. So if they actually do somehow bring this back, I hope they get everybody back on board that was originally doing this, because it wouldn't really feel the same personally.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't think it would either. And there's no need to recast anything in this one. There really isn't. It's just all really well done. I wish I knew her name. Did such a great job as Abby Arcane. But nonetheless, this show is very much worth your time, you guys. Again, it's not available anywhere outside of the DC Universe app or Blu-ray, maybe DVD. So check it out. It's highly worth your time. It really, really is. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and subscribe to make sure you don't miss other episodes going forward. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
I've been Robert Duell.
And remember, guys, stay scared.
Stay scared.